Hey guys, welcome back. Allison Unfiltered. I don't even know what episode this is anymore. We're just we're just rolling with it. Um, I will give you this. It is springtime in East Texas, and so our allergies are going cuckoo. Everything is blooming. I actually laid out today, and it was by noon, it was too hot to be laying out. So if that gives you anything, like I think we totally skipped winter and went straight to summer. So I apologize. I've had cough drops, I've had allergy medicine today, and nothing seems to be making it stop. So I will do my best to not clear my throat a million times, but I can't promise you won't happen. This is one of my favorite t-shirts, by the way. If you can't see it, what it says is, I am unable to quit. I am currently too legit. When I bought this shirt, my kids rolled their eyeballs, but I think it's the greatest shirt on the planet. It's one of my favorites, and I think it's something that always makes people laugh when they read it, and I'm all about that. All about the feel-good stuff. So I'm going to give you a couple of current updates. It's been a crazy, crazy week here at the Damscove house. Biggest thing is Gage had his wisdom teeth out last Thursday, and he's 20, right? You want to get those done when they're like 17 or so, but he wanted to wait and put it off. He has a huge aversion to taking pain meds and stuff, just because addiction runs rampant in our family, and maybe I instilled a little too much fear in him that way. I've always told my kids, be careful what you put in your body, because you never know what your body's going to get hooked to. So it kind of has an aversion, so it's taken him a long time to get the courage up. Well, I think we waited a little too long. He was actually under anesthesia for 2.5 hours, which is a really long time for wisdom teeth. His wisdom teeth were growing in sideways. They were impacted, and there was like a root that he was trying to get. Look, makes me want to throw up thinking about it. But there was a root he was trying to get. He said it was close to a nerve, so he had to go really slow. But let me tell you something. Dr. Constantino in Tyler, he's an oral surgeon, was phenomenal. I can guarantee you that if I need to go to someone to get a tooth pulled again, I'm going to go to him. Like, I've never seen a surgeon spend that much time with a patient before and after surgery. He was not concerned with who was in the waiting room. All he was concerned with was who he was taking care of at the time. Period. End of story. And that's the kind of people that I want taking care of us. When I was a kid, Dr. Acker took my wisdom teeth out. And he was someone that took our other kids' wisdom teeth out too, but he has since passed away, which is super sad. But I was telling this story to my mom the other day, and I was like, well, I kind of squirreled. Well, no, I didn't squirrel. I'll tell you the story. I said, Mom, do you realize that the day that I went in to get my wisdom teeth pulled, I had been up all night on cocaine? And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I was up all night on cocaine. So I don't know if you remember when Dr. Acker came out to get me and took me back. I was scared and I was crying. And the reason I was scared and crying is because I know the risk of using cocaine and then being put to sleep. I could have had a heart attack, right? And so she was like, I would have never let you go back there if I'd have known that. And I was like, I would have never told you, right? Because the appointment was there. It was set, had to be done. But I was okay. I made it through it. But man, golly, I was so stupid, right? I was so stupid. And and what I should have been is honest with my doctor. But had I told him, then we wouldn't have had the appointment. Then I would have had to explain things to my mom and blah, 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 and all that, right? But I remember he sent me home with 3 days of Percodan, and I lost 3 days somewhere. Like 3 whole days on painkillers that were good. They were good painkillers, actually. So, yeah, scary time. I'm so sorry. These allergies are crazy. So, I'm telling my mom this story and just the horror on her face. She was just like, "You did so much scary stuff and so much bad stuff," and she's like, "I don't know how you survived it." And I was like, I don't know how I survived it either, but I guess I survived it so I could live to tell the story, right? But Gage struggled. Back to Gage. He struggled really bad with the codeine and the anesthesia, and he had a headache for days, and he wasn't eating, and he was throwing up, and it was just, I mean, I loved being able to take care of my baby at home after he's moved out for 3 days, but that was absolutely freaking exhausting. Like, we were up every 3 hours with meds. It was exhausting, but we stayed on top of it. Bless his heart, he's got the biggest chipmunk cheeks ever. He looks like he's gained 50 pounds in his face. And he's real bruised, like he's real bruised from it. So he's tripping about having to go back to work tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. Um, so that was one thing that happened this week. Another thing that happened this week was with Xyngular. We had the product launch. I think I said something about last week. We had the product launch for GLPX, which was a natural supplement that helps your body create the GLP-1 hormone, which helps your body tell itself it's full, which helps you lose weight, all the good things, right? And we sold out a 6-month supply in 10 days. Holy shit. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy, 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 crazy. That's good crazy, right? It's been a great month. And I'm super excited for all my customers. I'm loving the product myself for sure. One of the things I talked about last week was that it was my son's 27th birthday. I talked about that. Well, that came and went, and I survived it. I didn't have a breakdown, which was good. I was worried about it. But now we have another son, Jacob, who's having a birthday this week, and he's going to be 21. Like, all of our kids are like officially in their 20s, and it's crazy. Blowing my mind here. So, trying to think if there's anything else this past week that's happened. I've talked to y'all about Mau Mau, the kitty that we rescued. We didn't really rescue her. She was living as a stray in the neighborhood, and then she decided to come live in our backyard after I fed her lots of treats. But she has been getting closer, like being more trusting, getting closer to me. Like, she actually climbed up in my lap, and she started trying to make biscuits in my lap, which her nails are real sharp, so they went straight through my jeans. I tried not to react because I didn't want to scare her. But yeah, I told you, like, this, I think Kira, our dog that passed, has come back in this cat. And our neighbors that were here Saturday night, we set up a little fire pit and sat outside and had some great conversation, some of our favorite people. But we sat around Saturday night, and Mau Mau was out there, and I threw her little toy mouse out onto the pool cover, which she can walk across and not get wet and all that stuff. Because it's one of those, like, not LifeLock, but it's something. It's the pool cover that you could put an elephant on and it won't go through. It's like a safety cover. It doesn't let leaves through either. So anyway, she's out there. Well, she starts hopping around this crazy on this pool cover, like it's a little trampoline, bouncing everywhere, playing with her little mouse. And then she got the zoomies, and y'all, she started doing the exact same thing that Kira used to do, which was like run all the way around the back fence. It's just crazy. Like, it's crazy what just the personality of this cat in comparison to my dog. Like, even like when she gets mad, she totally will go sit and put her back to me and ignore me. And that's what Kira used to do. Like, she just pretend like I wasn't there. Little shits. These little animals that we love so much. All right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. And talk about some more of the 19 hard things I do to be successful after you got. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I've never yawned on camera before. Wow. That just hit me out of nowhere. Must be the allergy medicine. So we're on number 5, and I'm going to run through them again. 1 is I make the call I'm afraid to make. 2 is I get up earlier than I want to get up. 3, I give more than I get in return right away. 4, I care more about others than they care about me. And 5, I fight when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. That's what we're going to talk about today. I fight when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. And I want to tell you too, this is by David John Kay. Something that we found that's just really cool, and I love it. And I think it just makes all the sense in the world in relationships, in business, in everyday life, all the things. But a quote that I found, and I can't find who it was from, but life is easy when you live it the hard way, and hard when you live it the easy way. I always thought that was so interesting if you break that down, because that is actually the case. Excuse me, my nose. Maybe Danny will have to just mark this out. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to do here with these allergies because they're terrible. Okay. I fight when I'm already injured, bloody and sore. You know, you talk about fight or flight. You know, which one are you? Are you a fighter or do you flight? Do you stick around and fight or do you haul ass? And I think I'm both. I think it just depends on the situation, and I think it's the same for everybody, whether they're fight or flight. But I don't ever give up. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, that's why people see me as like, I'm so strong, is I don't give up. I keep fighting. Now, some days that might not be the strongest fight, right? Some days I probably don't fight as hard as I should. And some days I probably fight harder than I really need to. But I think what it's telling you is that you keep going, right? You keep going no matter what happens, no matter how you're feeling, you just keep fighting. And I think I feel sorry most for the people that give up. Because, y'all, if you're expecting life to be easy, you are in for a very rude awakening. Life is hard. I mean, unless you're just like a trust fund baby, which I don't even know any of those personally. But unless you're a trust fund baby, and I don't know, from the movies I've seen, those kids live kind of a hard life too, those people. You know, they're usually isolated, they're usually lonely and miserable, and they have the money, but they don't have the friends because they can't trust who's going to be their friend because of money or who wants to really be their friend because of who they are. I mean, there's a mess everywhere. It's hard whichever way. But are you going to keep fighting when you're already injured, bloody, and sore? When you're tired? I think that if you give up fighting, then you've lost while we're here. I don't ever think it's easy to tell your story. But I also don't think it's ever easy to not, right? I feel like some people hold back for different reasons than others, and some people push forward for different reasons than others. Why is that? Why is it how we're created? We're all created so differently. What do you fight for? Here's what I fight for. My kids. 110,000% my kids. My kids. My family. I fight for my family. You know, it kind of goes in line with what I go through with my mom. It's not the healthiest relationship, you know, and like I've been told from Janelle, is I either have to live with the emotional abuse or I have to live with the guilt of walking away. But I continue to fight for that relationship when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore because she's my mom. There's just a loyalty that lies there. You know, I've talked about loyalty before and how I'm loyal to a fault, to the point where I'll allow myself to be abused by that person because I feel sorry for them. Like, what if I'm the only person in their life? What if I'm the only person that sends a message of, I love you that day, right? Because, gosh, I would hate to be like that, but I would also hate to know that I put myself in that position too. And then, you know, there's things that have happened in my business that have just kind of, I mean, things that have happened that just took it out of me, you know, and made me want to give up for a hot minute and ask myself, was it worth it? But I kept fighting. Even when no one else was fighting for me. How do you do that? How do you keep fighting for yourself when you feel like no one else is fighting for you? I can tell you that is hard to do, and it can put you in a very dark place. I am glad I'm not in that dark place anymore. I am grateful for Janelle because she's helped me get out of that dark place. But I feel like there's so many people in it. You know, like there's so many people living in that dark space. They just get up every day and they go through the motions and they're sad and they don't live. And I have a friend that comes to mind, and I'm not going to say who she is, but she's a very good friend of mine. And I feel like that's her life. I feel like she's just succumbed to how her husband and children are, that it's not going to be any different. It's not going to be any better. And she quit fighting. She quit fighting for herself. She quit fighting for what she thought she was valued as. And I feel like she just goes through the motions every day. She gets up, she goes to work, she goes home, she deals with it by not dealing with it, you know, and then she gets up and she goes to work and she comes home. Like, it's the same routine every day. And yet I know how sad she is. I know how much her heart hurts. And I know that what gets her through is her faith in God. But I don't think she fights anymore. I don't think she fights for herself. So what about you? Are you in a relationship where you just gave up? You gave up fighting and you just accepted it for what it is? And if you are, what's it going to take to get you out of that? Because here's the one thing I know. We were not meant to live this life miserably. No one ever said it would be easy, right? But we were not meant to live miserable. I mean, we all have, I want to say the word gumption. Like, we all have the gumption to know to do better. We know what we need to do. but we don't do it. So many don't do it. We need to make the call we're afraid to make. We need to get up earlier than we want to take care of our bodies and do the things. We need to give more than we get in return right away, because that's just how we should as human beings, and being kind to people. We care about others more than they care about us. I mean, that, I don't know. I was having a conversation with someone today, and I'm reluctant to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, because it's something that I'm for sure feeling right now. And the best way to deal with how you're feeling is to talk about how you're feeling. But I fight when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. I felt like that for a few days, for a few weeks, maybe a few months. And I was talking to a leader on my team, and I was talking about how, it feels really good when someone acknowledges that you're doing a great job. It feels great when someone acknowledges that you're doing a great job. And there are some people on my team that I feel like I'm having to babysit and go, hey, did you see so-and-so, had a new enrollment today? Or, oh yeah, can you go shout them out and, make them feel good about themselves? I mean, it's what we're supposed to be doing as leaders and coaches. And I think I figured out why that's so important to me is because my leader doesn't do it for me, right? And she's got a lot going on in her world, and I think she's just kind of checked out of this. But I know how it feels. I know how it feels to be working really hard and doing good and not be shouted out, I think that's important, because it doesn't make you feel important to the person that you're helping putting food on their table, you don't feel important. And I don't want anybody on my team to ever feel like that. So that's why I always reach out and I'm like, hey, can you shout out so-and-so? Hey, can you shout out so-and-so? And Danny and I were having a conversation the other night, and I'm like, how long do I do this? Right? How long do I babysit these people and ask them to go do things that they should be wanting to do for other people anyway, because it's not about them, it's about helping other people and making other people feel good, right? And so, we came to an agreement and decided that if nothing had been shouted out, then I would do it by a certain time every day, and make sure that those people were seen, and that's the thing. People just want to be seen and heard and loved. And I don't ever want someone to feel like they're not. Now, there's been some, there hasn't always been easy times on our team, right? But for a long time there was. God, when everybody was making money and it was going great, and it was, all the things were happening, it was good and everybody was happy. And now that things seem a little bit harder, the camaraderie's not there as much, right? But I think it also comes down to, sometimes it's a little bit of jealousy, maybe, that there's someone on their team is enrolling someone and they haven't. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I would love to dig into the psychology of it. And I don't understand, like, people that, I just don't think about it. What do you mean you don't think about it? What do you mean you don't think about, like, loving on the people that are putting food on your table? What do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean you don't think about it? It's how you're buying some groceries. It's how you're buying some new shoes and doing things for your kids. Like, how can I not be grateful to those people and shout them out and make them want to feel good about themselves, right? I don't ever want people to feel like I feel. So I'm still fighting when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. And the other side of it is when your coach or your leader, your mentor, however you want to say it, when that person shouts you out, it shows your team that you're doing, right? It shows your team that you're doing the things, that you're working, that you're doing all the things that you've asked them to do too, right? And to me, that's important. Setting the example, leading by example, that's important because I don't ever ask my team to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. One of the things I did this last week is I made a reel, and I wanted to chase the mail truck, right? A reel talking about, our new product and all that stuff. And I wanted to just do a fun little reel. And we had a substitute mail guy for a short minute. I guess our mail lady was on vacation or something. And so, I'll talk to anybody. I'm not scared. So I run out there and I was like, hey, can I ask you a question? And he just turns around and looks at me. Well, first he said, hold on. And he went and turned his music down in his AirPods or whatever. And I was like, hey, can I ask you a question? I was like, when you drive, I don't want you to think I'm crazy or anything, but when you drive away, will you let me chase your truck for a minute and video it? And he's like, he just looked at me like I was stupid. He was like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, you're kind of an asshole. I don't know. He was just a dick. And so I was like, I gave up on the idea, and I figured I'll just do it whenever our mail lady gets back. Well, she got back, and I was like, girl, I have got to tell you. She's like, I've already heard it. Sorry, y'all. She said, I've already heard it from multiple people. I was like, that guy was an asshole. Please don't ever let him come back to our neighborhood. And I told her what happened. And she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, I will totally let you do that. Let me drop these boxes off at your neighbor's. And she dropped the boxes off. I got my shoes on and I came out behind her truck, and she goes, okay, do you want me to go fast or slow? I mean, that's what the guy should have asked, right? I mean, if we're trying to bring joy into people's lives and stuff, nobody was going to get hurt. I wasn't talking about tying myself to his mail truck. I was just going to chase after it a little bit. So go find that reel on my Facebook because it's pretty funny. It was last week. But anyway, so she gets in her mail truck and she gives me thumbs up, are you ready? And I'm like, let's go. And I'm literally running down the street with my video, chasing her truck. It was the funniest shit ever. And my neighbor Jennifer's out there just laughing. She is cracking up. Y'all, I'm in this little cover up, right? I didn't have a bra on. I didn't have any drawers on. It was just a cover up and flip flops. But I had to go out there then and catch her when it was convenient for her when she was at my mailbox. So anyway, it was great. It was funny. And if the guy that remembers this and ever hears this, don't be such a douche to people. Have some fun, unpucker your asshole a little bit. But anyway, even when things are going hard, you still have to fight for yourself and you still have to fight for other people. It's the only way to get through life. So I fight when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. Do you? Or do you just lay down and give up? Because if you lay down and give up, you should probably seek some therapy. Janelle's pretty amazing. All you got to do is message me and I'll tell you how to get in touch with her. But seriously, you can't just lay down and give up. You can't just let it take over. You have to keep fighting. No matter what, no matter how hard it is, no matter how bad you feel, no matter how bad someone's hurt you or doesn't support you or all the things, you got to keep fighting, okay? So do me a favor. Don't give up. Okay? Promise. You won't give up. That you'll keep going. You'll keep fighting. And you'll keep doing all the things, all the hard things that it takes to be successful, because I know if I can do hard things, you can do hard things. All right? Peace out, homies. See y'all later.